Good afternoon, everybody. We are privileged to have with us today members of the Alumni Association of our seminary, dating back sila ng batch from 1980 to 1982. So the youngest in the group are those who graduated in 82, and oldest in the group are those who graduated from here in 80. And then if you take note that we began the seminary here in 1971. So these are the first few early batches of the seminarians that we had. We are happy that they are here for our reunion, and we are also inviting them, of course, to join us again next year, and especially in 2021, when we will be having our grand alumni homecoming to mark the 50th anniversary of our seminary. Now, the alumni priest in charge, of course, is Father Charles Jaime, who is our vice rector, who will be joining us later. So this time now, in our schedules and our reunion, is intended for you to be able to interact with them in some ways. The point is not to come up with a contrast of some kind. You look at them, you look at yourself in that manner, but it's not intended for you to look at them sila niya mga tiguang na nagkakitire kamo mga batanon. Because remember, as one saying goes, this is in one of the catacombs in Rome, what you are now, we once were. What we are now, you soon will be. So, it's not really in that sense that we're having this interaction. This interaction is intended so that we can establish continuity. You can see how it was in the days to be a seminarian, and how it is now with you as seminarians for the present time. What are the things that are still there? What are the things that have changed? So this is to establish continuity so that we will learn from the experience of each other. Their presence here will in a way enlighten you about your own life here. So we're very happy na Tuhan nila agreed to have agreed to share their experiences. And if you notice, at the beginning of the school year, as we were for the information of everybody, especially our alumni members, this year marks year one of our 3-year preparation for the Golden Jubilee of St. Carlos Seminary College. This year is called the year of renewal. We are strengthening foundations, seminary foundation. We are repairing the building, as you can see, but at the same time, we are going back to the basics of seminary foundation. So we were secretly hoping that we would have an opportunity like this now to hear from our former graduates, to speak of the experiences when they were here, as a way of enlightening the minds of our young students. So, luckily, this wish list has been granted with your presence today. So, without further ado, we will now listen to the first of these testimonies or sharing this afternoon. So, kinsa may Al Javier. Just so you know, sa chronology, ang batch 82 graduated from the seminary the year I entered Carlos Seminary. So, more or less, ang difference sa batch 82, ako ay 4 years. So, and then contrast that when I was graduating, then is Rojo's group arrived. So, sila ang grupo nila ni Monte Chica. When they graduated here, Padrino Victoria and Padrino Chica were 40 students. So they were the year ahead nila ni Padrino ni Father Chica. So this will be obvious. Nakakapag obvious po sa batch 80. Bishop Boya Bartes, no? Si 83 si Boya Bartes. So 80 ko wala yung obvious po.
Naunta.
Dito sa magkatro.
Kanangga. Andam sa ano?
Kasi Wilson. Okay, so we have some of our mga pare from the diocese who are here, including Father Cho. Father Cho, si Al Javier, is Mayona. And si Al Javier. Okay. Tapos the last.
Hindi mo pa nagkutigo.
Amo ni si Al Javier. Okay. Then palihog ko share sa inyong kasinatian. Pwede ipagkasa sa Carlos. By the way, ang atong motto, ang slogan for the Golden Anniversary Celebration is taken from the lines of the song written by Mr. Rudy. So ang atong theme is happy days and friendships through. So that's the caption that we have for the 20th anniversary.
Nag-props oh.
Ang ako'y gihatag dito sa USB para while we are sharing, makita ninyo ang ilang mga antiquated places.
Ay, kuyaw.
Because I will be revealing some secrets before you when they were still, when we were like you. Ang ako'y gihandang kay mama niya ang ipa-share sa ako. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank all of you for sneaking in some of our time with you. To your formator here and Father Rector, Monsignor Tan, for giving us this opportunity to be with you today to share with you some of our thoughts and life's experiences. In short, ano ba ang chismis? We have here with us my classmates of batch 82. Look how old have we become. We have lost so much of our youthful years in the passing of time. We have lost some zest of being young ones as we gather strokes and streaks of white hairs, and some might even lost half of it or all of it altogether. Some have lost their teeth, including their exuding smiles. Some have lost the agility and strength to do more. The moves and steps now seem to be calculated and yet determined. The eyesight is failing us sometimes, but comes to life once in a while when we see God's beautiful creatures and creation in the carvings and curves of nature. You see, many of us have already bridged half the century mark, past the age of 50 and going to our 60s and more. Some have lost their legs, like Father Jerry here, from the Diocese of Dumaguete. He looks like a cyborg to me. We also lost Father Chirito Gamalio of Sambuan in a motorcycle accident way back a few years after he was ordained. Also Father Avanzado, Order of the Agustinian Recollects, who succumbed to sickness. God bless their wonderful souls, including Jonathan Samuel. Some are still even wondering or even in denial why they do carry their senior citizens cards with them for the purposes of discounts from fair invitations, movies, and the rest, while they still feel young and annoying, throwing tantrums in unpredictable moments of our mood swings. So we are old as gold, my brothers, so we have to get real. We are here because we wanted to see how things have changed here at San Carlos Seminary College. We wanted to visit this institution that has become a very big part of our formation. Not all of us were ordained to the ministry, but by God's grace, some are still in the thick of the fight, living lives as God's presbyters. We are here too partly because we wanted to feel the ambience of how it was when we were your age, walking through the corridors almost all the days of our 4 years of stay here, to see how San Carlos Seminary College expanded and grew. Conversely, we ourselves have bloated stomachs but with tame and thin egos. We wanted to see and visit Monsignors Rudy and Adele, our surviving teachers and mentors. But among others, we wanted to see you in us, to let you know how fortunate you are to be formed by this institution as part of your priestly formation, studying the fundamentals of a craft that will soon be of use when you advance into theology, which for some will be on the other side of the fence, the Seminario San Carlos Mayor, Seminario Mayor de San Carlos. So here I give you 3 points for sharing for this afternoon. First, this is for my personal sharing to you as seminarian, once a seminarian. Number 1, strive for excellence in your academic, spiritual, and community formation. This might sound too all-encompassing, but these are the realities that we have to face. A burden we have to carry when a candidate is not proximately formed in the ideals of what should a priest be like in this age and page of our history. All these 3 variants are cornerstones of how to become effective and efficient leaders and servants of our mother, the Catholic Church. The onslaught of high technology was not yet so advanced in our time. Nil, nada. There were no computers then, but typewriters. Google was nowhere, but we have lots of noodles in our plates by then. We relied on our books and library and the intelligence and creativity of our professors. We have to religiously follow our time for study periods because lights out means you either sleep or just keep quiet and wait for another break of day when someone will say Benedicamos Domino and we lazily respond Deo Gratias. We studied atomistic philosophy by heart, shrouded by a mysterious language called Latin, as we took our music lessons as a major subject. As also included in our curriculum then was the subject on Jose Rizal, unfortunately or fortunately taught to us in Spanish by our rector of Pure, Monsignor Pilino Cavallo. Time spent inside the chapel were unlimited, murag only rice. The rigidity of what spiritual exercises meant was really taken religiously by heart and memory. We always have the 40-hour devotion, the spiritual readings during meal times, the Urbanidad Colloquia, the rosaries and masses and devotions and meditations, all are there presented for all of us to follow till we fall in slumber and exhaustion. I am telling you this because with all what you have now, it's quite easy to excel with all the tools and technology in our disposal. But do not get me wrong, even as I pursue on the ideal of the Magis, which my Jesuit formators molded me into, I am on the human and practical side of this equation. The veritable challenge is not supposed to be on the excellence, but on the striving. The amount of time and flexibility that one has to offer in order to be able to proximate the fruits of your intellectual pursuit, the internal and personal holiness, and the healthy living relationship with fellow seminarians. These are the hallmarks of one who shows determination in pursuit of excellence. Be good in whatever you do, study as if everything depends on you, and pray as if everything depends on God. Second point, discernment and critical thinking. These are heavy words to ponder as you young seminarians are still being formed to become someday ordained ministers in the one Holy Catholic Church. But let me just put a little nuance to these 2 yet similar, distinct but complementary ideas, which in the practical realm has so much influence and importance if we want to be relevant to the challenge of Socrates, that when he said that an unreflected life is not worth living. As we advance in our quest to sharpen and collect data and ideas and try to integrate them in the other areas of intellectual interests, we find that a crucial standstill questions that go beyond the limitations of purely rational queries. We feel a deeper call a more intense search, not in the realm of ideas, but in the sphere of the holies, the great beyond the whispers of a cool breeze, calling out the names of Samuel and Elijah in the wilderness of our journey. Primarily, we use and acknowledge the importance of critical thinking when what we learn in the fundamentals of logic, the epistemological origins of meaning, and the appreciation of the facts from vast and legitimate sources of information are crystallized in the thought process of getting a balance of truth from within and from without the confines of our existential preferences. It means that we, as a learned seminarian, should always be objectively biased for the truth of the realities around issues and phenomena. It is an acceptance of a verified fact that should pass through the screens of our intellectual selves that we get the proximate truth or positive reconnection between reality and concepts. St. Ignatius of Loyola would define discernment as where prayer and action meet. The content of discernment in many areas and stages of our lives depends so much on our collective experience of truths and falsities that we encounter, make, and undo. This is where the action of our minds will blend with the call of our spirit to elevate our earthly longings to a more sublime quest that not many men and women are so privileged to be given. Now, notwithstanding the fact that we are the misunderstood kind of species in the church for living an abnormality in the eyes of the world. Discernment, therefore, is a part and process of continuous prayer, using the signs of God through the fundamental exposés of realities that envelop our overall experience as seminarians in these times of political insecurity and tumult. It does not lead us to sit down and always wallow in our own misfortunes, for that matter, but it should lead us to act positively in answer to the call of the Spirit and inspired by the life of St. Charles Borromeo and St. John Marie Vianney. It should seek to address the question of the servant, Lord, what do you want me to do? And I may add, Lord, what do you want me to become? We place our best questions forward before the cross of Jesus as we daily sustain ourselves in His divine promise to His apostles. Therefore, as future leaders of communities with a voice that could shape and move people to act, we have to sharpen not only our skills, but to mold the hearts of hearts into us so that we only truly reflect the image of Jesus for which by we are called to become. Number 3, katulo, pastoral involvement and exposure. The last point which I would like to share with you is on the pastoral involvement and exposure. In our time, we had a very limited direction as to the exposure to what is truly happening around us. Much more, the experience we have had has not been properly processed and integrated. Much more not grounded on a reliable formative agenda for seminarians aspiring to become the alter Christus someday. I may not know how it is for you today, but just the same, I would like to encourage you to take this privilege of sharing the life stories of ordinary people in slums and factories, of workers and farmers, of jeepney drivers and barkers. All these are children of God. All these are members of the church in search of salvation. They are in search of a church that listens and journeys with them in their sufferings and struggles, and not to have that awful sense of clericalism that could destroy and do more damage to the people of God in whom we are called to serve. In our time on weekends, we were released like greyhounds to different parishes every Sunday to teach catechism, music, and the like, to help distribute communion on Sundays, and have a good time with some beautiful, cute choir girls. Then we had the chance of eating good food in the parishes unless the parish priest is sickly or too stringent in his budget with food and offerings. Para bang humamisa ang mga halad, inadiretso na sa kwarto. Then we go home on Sunday evenings filled with stories and exciting thrills and thrills of being overed and haunted by ladies in the parishes. Some of us do come home exhausted because they were made to sit down to speak as invited guests in Corsilio and CWL meetings, etc., etc. Some get home drunk, but only few. Nasubrahan sa mumpo. And so as we grow in holiness and in grace, may I remind you with the words of Pope Francis regarding the giftedness of priesthood, that is not much in doing, but in being. He says, those who turn ordained ministry into an occupation lose the heart of the ministry, lose the gaze of Jesus, who looked upon all of us and told us to follow me. Paul, in his letter to Timothy, says, do not neglect the gift you have. Doing is secondary. First and foremost, receive this gift and safeguard it as a gift, and from that, in the contemplation of the gift, everything else springs. Effort, intelligence, and a bit of shrewdness is required to be able to safeguard this gift properly. So now you are formally forewarned. Those who are aspiring to become ministers of the gospel in this early stage of your formation, even though it may hardly be very clear in the way you understand these realities, you are asked to once in a while, in the times of silence of your meditation and contemplation, where some might be pretending to be asleep or really deeply asleep, try to reflect on your giftedness as to why you have been chosen by God or by your mothers to become priests. Or simply, you cannot do anything good at home, so you think seminary life would be one hell of an adventure for your Gongulan lifestyle. Let me have a few sidetrack for a few minutes, 2 more minutes. One of the obvious dilemmas that is facing our Catholic Church in the Philippines today, in this particular milieu and context, is a systematic or an endemic issue that naturally comes to us as a church being holy and a sinner at the same time. The lack of witnessing of some in the hierarchy and in the institution, which include religious men and women, comes in a very colorful drama of ups and downs that beset it since this was handed down to our first Pope, Peter the Apostle, down through the ages. So when you come to study our church history, all these questions and scandals that we hear will surely fail in comparison to those who lived before us centuries ago. So again, we are faced with this glaring challenge to do our share in trying to refocus and re-examine the way we should be living our lifestyle and ministries according to the task presented to us with its responsibilities and expectations. So when we stand in the pulpit to continue to preach the gospel, may we always be aware that we are too are sinners and in need to be reminded that we are not preaching ourselves, but we are precisely bringing the love of Jesus to the fold of hungry and lost sheep. People can feel when they seldom see their priest with them and for them. When their priest forget to shake them in their meaningless stupor of doing nothing in the face of injustice and helplessness. When they see their priests spending so much time in fundraising and construction, while forgetting the cause of the plight of the poor, workers and farmers, then the red flag is up. I do not have to share with you these litanies of scenarios we see among our clergy, some of our clergy today. Nor I do not want to titillate you with the stories of good that is good for the tabloids and gossip columns. What I'm saying is that we who are wanting to follow him more closely and intimately should continually seek the promptings of the Spirit that we have chosen to follow, not a road of bed of roses, but a road less traveled with a cross of suffering planted in every choices and turn we make as a stark reminder of our frailty and in constant need need of support and inspiration. Let me end this short sharing I have prepared, acknowledging the presence of my classmates. And in doing so, batch 82, let me mention by name all those who are in pictures. Kanang naadihan karon. On your left, that is attorney June Palces, who lives in New York City. He is a lawyer by profession. He was with me in the seminary in San Jose, but we graduated the same year here. Father Francis Tam from the Archdiocese of Zamboanga, but he also worked in New Jersey and Archdiocese of New York. Asa naman si Tam? Ano ba? Kanang sunod si Roger Lumbre from Asin. Naan po na sa abroad, Suroy. Kanang si Lucas Inok, Father Lucas Inok, kailangan mo no? O taga ng Israel sa kwan?
Santa Rosa.
Siya na Santa Rosa mga siya pinakataas ang ilong sa Motalan. Mga ginapulipan na yung ilong terme. Sunod, si Padre Abansado na namatay na po. Oo, si Albert Abansado. O kinisunod, morning may mukanta sa mo si Clifford Buhian na taga Sikihor. O pili siya mukanta o isa ko yung favorite song.
Anthony Castillo.
Pero ibang ka na yung dili sa Kalakaw. Ang iyang tapat, si Bunot, si Padre Chirito Gamalio mo na namatay kaya sa buwan. Parang mataanan siya, dili na siya musulog og lain-lain nga pantalon, Levi's na gid na o yung pantalon o kining sa to. Hangten na shoes o hasapis na sapatos. Pero namatay naman siya, kanang sunod niya si Mario Mejia na aron sa Holy Rosario. Santo Rosario, Holy Rosario. Next is Father Doming Takit. Kana siya, ano siya? Oo. The man with lots of hair. Asa man assign Father Doming? Carmen. He's the parish priest of Carmen. Then we have another here who is also working abroad, still a priest, Father Romy Manching. Then we have Father Orhelio, yeah. And sunod sa iya si Big of Kenya. No? I don't know where he is right now. Sunod, kinila mo niya ang pinakasikat nga cinematographer, Chor Orhel. He is now the one of the priests in San Nicolas. Palakpakan natin siya sa kadalaman. He was the one who fed us last night and gave us lots of drinks, and we slept very early. I was that guy who's looking in his far left is Father Jun Navales. Jun, where are you? Kung pinakasabaan kayo sa mga. Wala pero sa tanan niya mo, makusumpukaon katulad yun. He can consume 3-4 enchiladas in one setting. Tapos, that guy who is our main servant, Father Orly Ruiz. Then we have Father Ray Aguilar, who is not active anymore in the ministry, but still working with the government. And we have Boy Mamararlo. Boy, where's Boy? Oh, here's Boy. He's sick. He just suffered a stroke. He's from San Nicolas Parish, I heard, I believe. Tapos we have Paul Munanan. I don't know where this guy is right now. Then we have our big brother Paul Alcobendas. He's here. He came in from Canada. Paul. Father Paul Alcobendas. But he's also out of the ministry. They can be Gawas. Kung kan dia pernah berbagi. Si Padre Pinto Mulat, where is he assigned? Oslo. Monsignor Pinto Mulat. Then we go back there on the other side is Father Palarca, no? The parish is Palarca. Usias Palarca. Then that's me. Then that's Hindi mo, magbubong na taas na kitang buhok. Tagas mo kayo may buhok sa una dyan, tagas mo mga bawal buhok sa una. Then Chilet Hermosa. Then that's Mr. Our principal of DepEd is Litolitz Vicentilio. Asawa Lito?
Doktor.
Dok. Uy, nawala man si Lito. Then that guy next is, tanaw niya po sa Tikas, si Loreto Nuico. He was not ordained but he finished his law degree in Dumaguete. I heard. Where is Nico? Nico? Yeah. Tara. Then ang iyatapan, si Attorney Arnold Bayubay, who came in from Manila also. He is with the Office of the Ombudsman. So kung may kaso, kung nangawat mo, masingkat, mapriso din. There is Reverend Juby Kinag. He was ordained as deacon, but he never was ordained into the ministry in Gawas. Sunod si Rene Durante, Father Rene Durante, who hails from the Diocese of Naval. Then Ernie Ledesma, he's in Zamboanga. I tried to text him, but he never answered his calls. Kana,
Kini.
abogado. Katanawa na yung ulog. Attorney Rafael Orellana from the Diocese of Dumaguete. Where are you, Rafi? Ayun. Yung business of buhok kung saan na. Basta ang buhok ka lang, gawin kakuan. Gawin pa, lupig si Michael Jackson. And that one, that guy, is the one, the cyborg. Father Jerry Kabihi. Dumaguete.
Bionic.
We have here also Raymond Saturinas. Ed Mariano, who came from New York, Connecticut. Si Mario Kabuhat, there. Wala po siya sa litrato. Felix Parajang, also a teacher. Then, Monsignor Jemal Veracruz, who will be the next speaker. He graduated with me in San Jose Seminary Ateneo, batch 87. We were together. So he belongs to the Diocese of Iligan. And fortunately, after how many years, more than 20 years, he decided to join politics and he won as Vice Mayor of the city of Iligan. Anybody, anything to mention? We have Nathaniel Maguyon, where is Max? Nathaniel Maguyon, he is also one of the responsible. Toraluyo ay, Toraluyo. Nagtagok-tagok. Si Nat, isa pa, walang dire. So far, kanang ang listahan na mo sa una, and kanang luyo nga bukswagin mo na yung service team, Monsignor Pilio Cabalya. Ang color, anak, kuwan, mura sa kitong, ang parihara. Pero pa rin siya, burgundy. Wala kinana, maroon. So there is the same platform diha. So mas mura diha mo ng mga kanang sitawagan ninyo kanang nasa taas. Mga risers, kang ibang. So inala di sa una, mura nalipay lang yung kaya kanang mga structures niyang curriculum na susugod na usap. Nga ganihaw, nag-expect ni magkanta sa maglinya tag isirere video segundo per jam sa bato. Yan, ginakanta naman na ninyo nga, kung naman, active naman, may lumawala naman ito. Una, may maglinya man yan na, magkikatin hapon, saka sa kapilya. Yan, kamu karon magkanta lang mo dito, mura din mo mahilisan. Kami mahilisan din, maglinya pa man na, saka dito. So anyway, ito ang mga observation. We are very happy that we visited you here and hopefully by maybe 4 or 5 years from now, you'll be also be coming back home here as priest already. And we will be meeting and sharing some of our stories together again. So I will give you now, this is a very exciting speaker to us. As I have said, he is presently the Vice Mayor of the city of Iligan. He has been a priest for more than 20 years, active in the ministry for 30 years or so. But because of the story of what he went through, he decided to join the politics because of church issues and the issues in the government these days. So I give you Monsignor, he's the Vicar General then of the Diocese of Iligan. Monsignor Jemar Veracruz. Nagkasigot yan, nagkasigot.
Daghang salamat Father Al, no? Sa atong mga pare ko dito, si Father John Lacao, no? Si Father Cham Cham, no? And then sa akong mga classmates, actually I did not graduate sa 1982, pero they are my classmates in first year. No, and some were my classmates also in high school. No, so pero pag ingon nga batch 82 reunion ta sa Subo, ingon ko I commit myself to the reunion. Now, human gibasa ni Father Al ang iyang speech, murag I felt very insecure to speak next to him. So anyway, murag nakatulog rin mo kuban, no? Doon na lang yung nahiluman ng istorya, no? Doon ay driver, nag-drive siya sa iyang pasayroan, kunya na inisakay na sanglahon. Kunya pagsakay sa sanglahon, ingon dahil ng ato, asa magkamanang, ato sa unahan daw. So ang muna-muna, driver, sao ka niya, pagkarao ka niya, no? No, pero istorya, pag-abot sa unahan, lugar lang daw, itulo na ang 50 sa sanglahon. Ingon na yun ang driver, ay, sige naman ang kailibritan ako. Sus, kayo duho lang ang sanglahon na ito. Uy, kabutan! Hindi mo doon. Anyway, another story. Doon ay naglakaw-lakaw, mga kabarkada. Mga bago na sila ng pare. Bago na sila ng pare. Priest with idealism and ambition. So, samtang naglakaw sila dito sa baybay, nakikita sila o kaming butilya. And battle attracted them. So, ipunit sa usap, matod sa usap pare. Brad, naay bago na iputilya, Brad. Sa isura ni. So, ingon na yun. Hinapa ko no. Igawas ng genie. Pagawas ng genie, ingon, your wish is my command. Give me 2 wishes and I give to you. So, doon sa ako, ingon na yun usap. My wish is that I want to be powerful and very rich. So, ingon na yung genie, I'll give you your wish, son. Tagaan siya kung daghan kayong handi, kung bulawan. And what follows then, if you have the money, you have the power. No? So, ikaw na muna yan ang genie, okay, second man, kung sa imong wish. Ikaw dahil ito, usa ka pari mo siya. My wish is that kaning akong kauban, mahimo na akong bakos. No? So actually, ang kinabuhi sa pari, actually is a life of service, you know. Batos-batos na, hindi naman nakasimbahan, batos ka sa obispo, batos ka sa kura-kuruko, no? Actually, kanina sa pagsuri-suri na mo, kanina sa kaning seminaryo, nakita na ko na a lot of things have really changed, no? Structures, tanaw na ko sa mga mayong sa Krista, mga dagpo naglawas, mga gwapo dito panahon na, pero mas baka pumuro kay Batanon man, no? So, dagpo mga lawas sa tanaw na ko, you're well fed. We're not fed well, no? So, ang sabi lang na nato, nasa ubos, tapos ang iyong dormitory, kamay na lang og tao, no? And your beds, wala na yung bars, no? A lot has changed, no? You have this beautiful audiovisual room, no? Og sa Tito Rayon, tanaw na ko, many things have changed in the seminary, sa San Carlos Seminary, no? I know that these changes nakatabang to make and form you to be relevant leaders in the future. No? So muna yung akong nakita, and now I may not be kanang very strict to what the instruction was. To tell you what I went through here o unsa ang akong gitawag na itong nakita nga mga lihok namang sa una na that may affect our lives. No? Pero alam ko buhaton karon is I will tell you my story. And telling you my story, sutihan ko kamo that San Carlos Seminary have affected me in my decision making. No? Kaya ang kinabuhi ko nato is a series of decisions And these decisions are only made according to how we were born in the past. Now, so, here is my story. Ako taga Cebu ko. Taga Libaong San Remigio, Cebu. Kasi taga dapit sa Norte din eh. Like taga Norte. Kasi taga San Remigio dito. Hindi. Wala. So, wala. Bugo. Taga Bugo. So, Franco. Kaya pamilya ka sa lugar ng Franco. So, wala yung lugar. Karoon mo na yung lugar mo sa una. So, I come from there, no? And, after second year, from second year, ibalik ko sa Vincentian. At natulog sa Vincentian, after graduating sa college, I went to San Jose Seminary. Moto nagkawan ni si Atty. Jude o si Father Aljavier. Now, during that time, I like to get back to the Archdiocese of Cebu. Kay secular priest man ang akong gintuan sa San Jose Seminary Ateneo. Now, giingnan ko, pag-anto na ko, kang Monsignor Dakay, di ka pwede ito iskwila sa San Jose. I was so frustrated and disappointed na nung dili pwede. So, ito na istorya. Ewan ko, may pagkagayas ng ulo, I insist that I will study in San Jose. It was difficult to pass San Jose Seminary and I have this, and why would I atras ko? Anyway, pag-abot na ko Jude Francis was there. Ewan, doon ko sa inyo diocese to? Ko, Cebu diocese to. Pagsaba na ano, di ka pwede dito. At that time, he transferred his uncle, Bishop, dito sa Caceres, no, sa Naga. Anyway, to make the story short, that time na nakita mo, and then Bishop Kapalya, while we were doing our jogging sa Ateneo campus, nailhan ako siya. And then I told you my story, that ikaw pwede wako yung diocese. And when you study for theology, you must have a diocese you study for. No? So, ito nga, ako sa istorya, yun siya nga, kanang apply ka sa Iligan. Come and visit Iligan. So that was the time I visited Iligan, and I felt the need to visit Iligan. You could just imagine. There were 5 towns, which means it could, 5 towns, there were 7 parishes na walay pare. It was only 8. So with that vision, I decided to be there. I felt the need of priest dito sa Iligan diocese. So I applied, taken, and April 9 of 1987 was already a priest. Kaling pare, pwede yun. No? Pugihan kayo, pugutan kayo. And you know the struggle of the young priest. I will tell you, young boys, no? You will have one of the struggle sa inyong pagkapari in the first years. Kaling mga uwi-uwi sa mga guwapa kayo ng parokyana. Pero kaya, that's the experience. But if you can survive in the 5 years, you are good. If you cannot survive, problema ka. And I will tell you, in the first 5 years, what you book uyang with? What you book uyang? Okay, I was very serious and very, religiously observing my vows. I always remember the promise I made to the bishop to remain saving. No? Because it's a gift, no? And we have to swear, kakinahan doon. Kaya malam ko kagamong mga simplista kayo na buduyan. Ikaw ba ito sulti ni Father Jutan, no? Jug, mato ni siya mo nga, what you are now, you will be. Tagagay mo biyam yung parang yun, lagi mo dagang biyam siya. So ayaw may mo na. Ay mo na. Anyway, so, nagpare, patuyon, and then further studies dito sa US, and then after dito sa US, there was a temptation to stay in the US because it's a beautiful life of priesthood in the US. No, I finished my study just like the rest of my classmates na nandun na sa Rome. Pero there was an offer for me to stay in the US. Pero ang ako sa Disco Gilingon, I am sent here by my diocese to study for my diocese, and I should go back to my diocese. So I never succumbed to the temptation. Nibalik ko sa Iligan. And trabaho, walang paroko, I became the parish priest of the cathedral for 12 years, and I become the vicar general sa diocese for 16 years. Now, the turning point of my ministry, ang akong mayor, di akusahan o kanang gitawag na itong ambush. It was a staged ambush ang among nakita. Bisang usahan na mo tanaw yun, no? The congressman was ambushed, all his men died except him. Unya siya, wagi garas. He was a 6-footer. He was occupying the front seat. His vehicle was riddled with bullets. And did you know, imagine if you are inside, gawa kay igo. Wa kay igo. Maigo yung ka, bisang gamay ka na tao, bisang gamay ka na tao. Pero this time, this incident, what is just cuts. So, it made me believe na ang ambush was ambushing. Immediately, 15 minutes, he was on video accusing the mayor as the mastermind of the ambush. We had our investigation and looking at the background of this congressman who wanted to run for mayor in the next election. Nakita na mo na 87, 89, 90, 94, 95, 97, he has his people killed. No? Kay wala karimit sa iyaha o katong rimitan sa halay, wa po karimit sa iyaha katong rimitan sa droga. Actually, the congressman is a drug lord. So, this is the time na ang mayor na mong napriso o may pag-asa ang going on. No? And he was accused, he was on the loose for 5 months, and then he surrendered. And that's his prison. While he's in prison, I was celebrating my 25th year as a priest. No? Kunya, ini kagabi igod na ako, ikatulog na ako, muli ang akong madamuhan kanunay. The question that lingers in my mind, and even in my dream, what have you done and what are you doing to your brothers and sisters who are poor? Have you done something for them? Sige ko na matay. Pero ako na ito ba, in my dreams, pagmata ko, I testify. I have offered my whole life to the altar of God. I have worked hard in the diocese. I have denied myself of having a wife, having a girlfriend, siring a child. Tapos, given nila. Wala na pang taon pa. Pero the question that is being asked, dapat ihimo sa imong isugod mo matapos. These are the things that bothers me for the many months that we na. Naigo ang sendong. So, muna ko ito ang kung saan himuuli mo sa imong mga isugod na ubre. So, I involve myself, of course, in the housing. We make housing for them. And one thing also na makita sa mong picture, ang among mayor galuoy kayo nasa prisuhan, and he has no chance of getting out unless somebody would team up with him in the next election. I prayed so hard because priests were coming to me, leaders of Biligan City were coming to me and telling me, Munsi, you are the only person who can defeat these people, who can beat them. Why tinuntuhin ninyo kanino sa akong kinabuhi sa akong pagkapari? Why would I involve myself in politics? Politics is very dirty. Sige ko kampo. Anyway, basta mga kawan ng pari who are very progressive, who were asking me, sa'yo, magpupi-pupi sa akong kumbinto, hindi kagabi, mo ato na po, ako sa istoryahan, hayahay na yung kinabuhi na. Kung kamo na lang. And then they were telling me, Muns, ikaw maging pinakasikat din sa iligan na leader. Ikaw rin magkapildi din yung mga tawanan. Well, anyway, I took the challenge seriously, and I told them, give me 6 months, I will pray it over. One of the persons that I told first was my mother. My mother was 24 years old then. Matid ko siya, Mami, udaga ko politika sa iligan. Sus, naburo sa akong inahan, pero di na ginagyaw-yaw. Dong, hindi na pwede kay hinumdumi ang imong tiyo dito sa Samar, gipusil dito, bayaw sa Kalbayog City, gipusil, tungkol sa politika, anak sa istorya. Anyway, ito nga, mag-ampo pa kung mamitabalit ang okay, kung siya mag-ampo ko nga unta, ikaw, di ka mag-decide mag-politiko. Anyway, padayon ang ang proseso sa discernment, and this is what discernment is all about, no? You don't rush, no? You have tulog sa taas pinagay, ba? And then, time came that I said to myself, okay na rin, di at mudagan. As in the habit every morning after my Mass, Lord, because of tabernacle, no? Before the tabernacle, I always spend 15 to 20 minutes, to do my prayers, personal prayers. So, at least na kayo, I will not be running as a politician in India. But to tell you sa akong lingkod before the Blessed Sacrament, ako na nakita yung vision na nagluksulukso ng yawa, no? Nagluksulukso ng yawa ito sa lipay kayo, ikumpis ko ni. I recall that in times of dissolution, do not make no decision. So, wala to. I have another discernment process. I went to my spiritual directors. I talked to them. And the only thing they would say to me, think it over. Reflect more. No? And always remember, this one word here that this may said to me, remember that vocation is not static. Vocation is dynamic. So, I did not know what it means. No? So, dili ko sa mundo na, dili ko sa mundo na, itawag ka kasi dino na, pari na karoon. Pari ka suka, di na pwede mo one, because vocation, manto pa nila. You might be called any time of your life, no? That you will be called to do more and give more of yourself to people. Siguro daw sa mga if I remain in the priesthood, ang itaro sa akong mayor, preso hangtod-hangtod, dili gagawas. Kaya wala akong chance of winning in the next election. Iyon ko sa kung dili ko muhaw sa pagpapalain, kung muhaw ko muli, it would be a lot of sacrifice in the world. I will be losing a lot of things, no? I will lose, o maghibaw ka daw ka di ba? But anyway, after the sermon, I took the risk. I talked to the bishop. And then the bishop gave me the permission. Only one term. Kapit na tayo. Only one term. So I go, sige bishop, I just want to serve this guy. Pero istorya, made a decision. I asked my brother priest, in my last Mass sa St. Michael's Cathedral in Iligan City, they were all there. My priest and the sisters, the religious of Iligan Diocese. No, after my Mass, I stripped myself of my chasuble, my pistola, my sutana, and give it to the Vicar General then, who was replacing me. Ang bishop ito sumakapit-apit. Yung kapit-apit na kabuang video. No, anyway, there was a situation that need to be responded to, and I responded. I took the risk. So hitabo, we made a campaign. Ang mayor nasa sulod. We did not have any money to give to people except for gasoline and for our tarpaulin. No, ang hitabo is there were atong mga drug lords na congressman were trying to do his best to pull out our mayor, transfer him to another place so that on his way out of Iligan City, he will be shot dead. That was the intelligence. So they were not able to do that. Even with lawyers are here, even with the order from the Court of Appeals, the Regional Trial Court, even with the order of the Supreme Court, people power was more powerful than the order of the courts. So nobody was able to extract the mayor from his prison cell because the people were laying on the road towards the prison of the Salat Angel. It was people power, and we won in the election. So that was the first term, and then come election. Matay ng bisko na mo. Asa ba ito? Palagiran na rin palayon ko. So wala tayong bisko. So presume na mo lagi ko tutang yapon ko. So nagpadayon ko sa ako nga kanang role as the vice mayor o Iligan. Now, unsay akong learning diha sa ako nga istorya sa kinabuhi, especially when I made that difficult decision to join politics. Una, decisions that we make in a rush. It should be a painstaking and process of it. And we have to do a lot of prayer. And you guys tell you, no? Alam yung mga pari na sa the ministry, they know that we have went through the process also of making the difficult decisions in their lives. No? Ang akong mga kauman po, wala mag-ordain to make it very difficult in their lives to make that decision. No? Ang sayo ko nga, you make a decision in prayer, no? And reflection, and listening to the prompting of the Spirit, I know that you cannot be wrong. You know, sometimes we make our decisions according to the introjections of our parents, introjections of our friends, of the people around us. Never make a decision based on the introjections of the people around you. What your heart tells you, follow it. Even if it is difficult, even if it will entail a lot of sacrifice. No? But the bottom line there, when you make a decision, the decision should be influenced out of love. No? Hukman ang magpapalagay. Yan ang decision ninyo naman. Hukman sa imong kagalingon, hukman sa imong sigataw, o hukman sa Diyos. Second, importante in church and in politics, I have a very good relationship with my bishop, with my brother priest. So that is why when I ran for election, all my brother priests supported me. No? And the bishop also supported me in that decision. Nakita na ko, if your relationship with each other is good, people will be behind you all the time. No, labi na kami mga batan mga sibilista, you will become priest someday. Kung imong relasyon sa usan-usan yung kauban mo hindi maayo, I tell you, when you become priest, your relationship with the other priest hindi kinamaayo. Yung mauna nga importante, try your best to, of course, be in good relationship with yourself. Know yourself better, and then be a friend to yourself. No, that's very important. Second is develop that good relationship with each other. No, interpersonal relationship is very necessary, no, for you to succeed in life. And lastly, of course, relationship with God. Mauna na nakadiri sa seminaryo, and the seminary days that you are here, I know this is my experience also here, was a type of discipline, no? Pagsunod sa Diyos. Pagsunod-sunod. Dili sa atong mga balahon sa seminaryo, kundi pagsunod to the person we are trying to respond for His call. No, so we should know that Jesus that we're following, and we should follow the Jesus always and only Jesus, no, all the time. No, so these are mamuni akong nakita na kani we have this in the seminary, and I know that you have this also. No, kani kamutan nato nga inyong masunod, mahimo kini mga butana. Ang seminary is not a field trip. No, it's not only a field trip, no? Pero sa mga pare, mingon na sila, ang seminary was a honeymoon. When they become priest, ang pagkapari, sakripisyo na tayo. No, tinuray lang, no? Ako makita karon, I'm still discerning. No? I'm still discerning. I know that ang pagkapari, hindi na mo lang. Hantod karon, I would consider myself a priest. I say Mass in my home, in my little chapel, kaya mo na sabot na muso mismo. You can say your Mass. Sabi ko na, pare mo ko mo senyor. Oh, pare mo ka. So, can I say Mass? You can say Mass in your house, in your chapel, but do not say your Mass in public. Kaya suspendido ang imong public office. No? Anyway, so, I'm still looking, I'm still deciding whether or not, no, I'll get back soon in the ministry, or I will continue to become the next mayor of Iligan City. Kani, ang buwan niya po dito maayo, and I know that my formation and background in the seminary, like you have, will be part of that decision that I will make. No? So, kanita na you are here, murang naitawag na to sa English. So, hindi tawag sa English mo, taas ka istorya. You are windbag. No? Murang windbag mo, but that is because I tell you a story. And the story that I tell you is my life as a priest, as a person. And I do not, of course, ask you to follow me. No? Nga, kamo, magpare mo, niya politiko. No, of course not. No? You have your colleague discern very well and try to follow the promptings of the Holy Spirit. And when you follow the promptings of the Holy Spirit, you can never go wrong. But the secret is here. Follow your heart. And when you follow your heart out of love, you can never be wrong. Daghang salamat. May hapon ang God bless us all.
Hindi mo. Nakausap ko ko ng bulbul. Ikaw, din ako. Yun. Sipa eh. Ingon ba nga duha na lang? Ako lang gihilit akong kaliko.
Ayun hapon sa tanan. So salamat sa mga sharing sa others. Yun. Among the seminaries, do you have any questions to raise? Our brothers, our elder brothers and sisters. This is a sort of pagpapalong na lang siya. And if you want to sa dua ka mga sharings na ihatag or among our elder brothers masigdaan yung mga questions po na mitumaw sa inyong mga panguna-una at samtang nag-reserve yung sulod sa seminary. Basig kumuha mo ha? Ayun.
This is not to encourage you that you will leave the seminary and become counselors or vice mayor in the city. I ask you to discern very well, and of course, God is calling you. That is the reason why you're here. Pero, usa lang sa mayor was entity listening to the Pope, no? When I was doing my discernment, ingon sa Papa, politics is the highest form of charity because politics is about the well-being and common good of our people.
Okay, so any additional sharing?
Don't be shy.
Sa mga all the elder brothers. Sorry? And how much time do you have? It's already 3 o'clock. And I think you have another schedule. May mga klase wala? So, today is Wednesday. Father Stephen is here. Miss Vitas is also here. Okay, isa pa. Father Body. Father Frank. So we end our sharing. will give. Please stand.
Huwag ka na magsanod.
The Lord be with you. And may the Almighty God bless you all. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Ayun ako sa advance invitation na din sa batch na nag-reunion next year. Naghimot ta og annual gathering of alumni seminarians, all the alumni. Himot na to annual. It falls on a Friday during the Medina days sa September. So, muna siya. Please, mark your dates. I think it's June. Appeal siguro kung isa to yung sa page, Alumni Association. Yeah. Yeah. Kuan, basta mo indicate pa sa date, basta. May hapon sa tanan.